slow and unsteady. Ethnic violence has abated, but peace continues to elude Manipur. It has been a little over 3 months since President's rule was declared in Manipur after a disastrous spell when the state government, led by the Bharatiya Janata Parties and Biren Singh, failed to de-escalate tensions in the ongoing ethnic conflict. By all accounts, there has been a significant reduction in gun violence and arson, which had flared up sporadically means kabhi kabhi since the ethnic conflagration began in May 2023. Some of the weapons that were looted from police constabularies have been returned, and the militants don't seem to be roaming around with sophisticated weapons impudently as they did earlier, but that has not been mean that peace has returned. The free movement of people and goods across highways and between the hills and the valley continues to be impeded. There have been no signs of any thaw in the hostility between the two communities that were at the central of the conflict, and this has meant that those displaced and who lost their homes in the valley and the hills are yet to return. That the peace has been fragile was seen in the way the Imphal Valley convulsed in protest following a recent incident during the run-up to the Shurey Lily festival in Ukral district in the late May, when a state transport bus with journalists drove close to Kukizo inhabited areas. Some security personnel placed stickers on the bus to hide the name of the state, an act that riled civil society groups in the valley. Ostensibly, this was done to allow for their safe passage through the Kukizo areas. But it only antagonist groups in the valley who saw this an act of kowtowing the two demands for a separate administrations. One of the key demands of the Kukizo community representatives. Apparently, some of the latest partisans had opposed transport services through their areas, but stepped back after a stern stance by the organizers of the festival. It is understandable that the union government has to walk a tightrope in Manipur, and that explains the relatively slow pace of a return to true normalcy. But the government must take strong steps in disarming insurgent and chauvinist groups who continue to hold sway in the valley and the hills. It should also send out a message that these sections will not represent the respective communities in the peace and political initiatives that are needed to resolve the conflict. The distrust of state institutions had led to ethnic partisans setting the discourse in order to reverse the situation. A stronger commitment to implementing the rule of law while focusing on rehabilitating the victims of the conflict is the need of the hour. Meanwhile, there have been calls for restoration of the state assembly, with some MLAs claiming majority support for a fresh iteration of an NDA government. This step should only be considered if there is some consensus on steps to be taken toward normalcy among the elected representatives of the respective community and civil society actors.